Namo Buddhaya, Namaste. I'm going to talk about breathing and how to breathe correctly for meditation. Now, if you're learning to sing, or you're learning athletics, a sport, there will be great emphasis placed on teaching you how to breathe correctly in order to, if you're a singer, project your voice, sustain long notes, or if you're an athlete, to get as much oxygen into the body to perform efficiently. But it seems there's not much said about how to breathe when we're sitting in meditation. Now, I'm not talking about controlling the breath. No, far from it. For meditation, we do not try to control the breath, like we do not try to control the thoughts or thinking. We simply stop and watch the thoughts, watch what we're thinking. As with the breath, we stop and observe, watch our breathing. And we note, is it long, is it short, is it deep, is it shallow? Even on the in-breath, is it cool? On the out-breath, is it warmer? We notice the space between breathing in, breathing out. And we try eventually with our thinking, with our thoughts, by simply stopping and watching to observe that space between thoughts. This is meditation, how we bring our minds gradually to calm, serenity, peace. But the important thing to consider is how we are breathing, right from the start of your meditation. And again, it is not something you have to do. We don't have to do meditation. We simply sit and actually do nothing. This is meditation. So, with breathing, we need to get it right at the start in order that we can meditate comfortably and for longer and longer periods of time without having to alter anything about our posture or how we're breathing. So in the recent video on this channel I made with regards to sitting, I explained how we must sit in an upright posture. Now this is very much to do with breathing. And I did mention briefly in that video how to breathe. But in this one, I'm just talking about how to breathe, because not only does it help you in meditation, it can help you when doing all kinds of other things, or when experiencing all kinds of either physical or emotional, pleasant or unpleasant feelings. So, breathing. We all know we breathe in and we breathe out. Now, with meditation and all other activities, really, with the exception, let's say, of singing, but with all activities and meditation, one should be breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. I think really the only time it is necessary to breathe out through the mouth is when you are really having to breathe heavily, if you've had some very tough physical exercise, or of course when you are singing and trying to enunciate. The whole process is expelling air from your voice through your voice box out of your mouth. Any other time, the mouth should remain closed. In meditation and any other time, not tightly, not jaw clenched, not teeth together. Gently touching maybe, preferably slightly apart. This is a relaxed jaw. And if you remember, relaxing your face helps to relax your body. Relaxing your jaw, the tension around your eyes, relaxes your entire body. Now, I'm going a little off the track as I'm just talking about breathing, but I have some time because I am dedicating this 10-20 minutes to just this, how to breathe. So bear with me, stay with this video. It is very useful in all kinds of situations. Now, us monks, we're very lucky. We don't just have to meditate at a set time, in a set place, with a group, in a set way. Our lives are meditation. I was sitting here meditating. I've been to town, it was very busy. Through town on my way back, I'd been for Prasad. By the way, if you thought I should be in Udupi by now, that got cancelled, postponed. This is India, it happens, anicca, dukkha, anatta, nothing's in my control, suffering and everything's uncertain. It is India, it's India. So, it didn't happen, but not a problem. Anyway, I've been into town. It is this, not Christmas here, but it is the holiday time, so it's very busy. Not so many cows in the town now, they've gone to the more peaceful parts of the area, but lots of people, lots of vehicles, everyone pushing and shoving. But very nice in Prasad, I had my meal, and ordinarily I'd walk back along the beach. But as it was hot, I thought I'd wander this way, come to this temple and sit and meditate on my way back after my lunch. I don't always like to have a rest in the afternoon. I don't think it's that necessary for me. Some it is. But I usually like to have a walk before that anyway, after lunch. So I came to the temple here and then thought, on my way back from Prasad, through the busy town, to the temple, what was I doing? This we call reflection. Now monks, it's our job, our profession, our livelihood, our everything, if you like, to be practicing mindfulness and meditation in order to be free from suffering in this lifetime. So I appreciate that may seem a little irrelevant. It's all right for you, you're a monk, to be having these thoughts all of the time. But that is also the purpose of our relationship, a monk's relationship with lay people. To be practicing and trying this out in order to pass on what the Buddha taught us to lay people, whom aren't monks, but can benefit from the techniques, methods, ways of doing things. And the emphasis that was in my mind, I thought, as I sat here, from leaving Prasad to here, was in two places. And I'm glad to say it was the right places, my feet and my breath. My feet, because I was being mindful of walking, stepping right, stepping left, stepping right, stepping left. If you're not, you can be I'm not watching my feet, this is a feeling. You need to be watching very much ahead, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, maybe a little bit behind you when there's all busyness coming from all directions. But as far as possible, straight ahead, because your peripheral vision is much more powerful than you think. You can see something coming like this better and more quickly than you can turn to see it. So trust in this body. Trust in how it works. I'm not a doctor, but I'm a monk, and I've just spent many hours just watching these things. This is how I've learnt these, what could be considered trivial bits of information, but they are very useful. In a busy environment, if you were in a battle zone with things coming from all directions, we have been designed to survive. So our periphery vision actually sees in black and white, not colour. Colour receptors are to the centre of the retina only. We build up the colour from memory and imagination. Why? Because black and white requires less data, let's say. So it can recognise a stone, a stick coming from this direction, and get it to the brain for recollection more quickly. Now if you keep turning like this, you'll just be deceiving yourself. So walking, focused ahead, mindfully stepping right, stepping left. And then I was watching the breathing. Just asking myself questions. How am I breathing? Now I know how I'm breathing because I've been practicing this for a long time, how to breathe, and I will tell you how to breathe in a minute. It doesn't take long, but I'm giving you the background. I was asking myself, how is my breath? Is it long? Is it short? Is it deep? Is it shallow? Is it hot coming in? Is it cold coming in? Is it hot going out? Is it cool going out? This is basic anapanasati. But even after all of these years of meditation, I'm practicing that when I'm walking around every day. Rather than thinking of where I've been or where I'm going, I know that, and my body is taking me there. But rather than being distracted by here and there, because the peripheral vision will protect me from those comings and goings, I'm thinking, how is my breath? Is it long? Is it short? Is it shallow? Is it deep? Is it hot? Is it cold? Why? Because it's my meditation object that's always with me. Stepping right, stepping left, stepping right. Now, it may sound, oh well, I'm not so sure. I didn't trip, I didn't bump into anybody, I didn't get pushed around. And because people make eye contact without even realizing, they know where you're going. You can try this trick. Walk along the pavement with someone coming towards you. Look to the right. Notice they will go to the left. You'll look at my fingers because my left and right may be the opposite way round to you. Walking along the pavement, somebody coming along, look to the left. You'll notice they'll go to the right. As long as you just look to the left, not like this. Don't try it in India, it doesn't work. I've tried it. They're like this. And it's too busy, I suppose, but on a nice empty pavement, someone walking along the road, coming towards you, I promise you, it happens. I know I say I promise a lot, but I'm only promising from my own experience, and having done that a lot, I know it works, so I can promise you that. If it doesn't work at first, try again. You may have done something wrong, not them. As long as you firmly look left or firmly look right, they will go the other way. This is the miracle of this body, and this is why the Buddha said you don't need to read books, you don't need to travel from one side of the planet to the other or even to another universe to learn the Dharma. It's all here within this fathom-length body. It's there, the answers are all there. So you walk mindfully along and you keep your mind on the breath, the meditation object. So as a monk, like I said, we're fortunate, we're always meditating. Then I come to sit and I'm meditating again, but in a different posture, because we meditate sitting, standing, walking and lying down. So when I questioned what was I doing between there and here, it was watching the breath and watching my feet. A combination of anapanasati and walking meditation. And it got me here without being bothered, hassled by the intense heat, because it's very hot in the town, and the sheer huge number of people that I'm very not used to. Remember, I live in the forest over some 3 kilometers away, up on a rock, up on top of a big hill or little mountain. There's no one up there, not even cows, just eagles circling above, and lots of insects and snakes and things, but no one to bump into. So it's very different. But we can live anywhere, monks. This life is not running away from busyness. It's learning how we deal with it when we are in busyness. How we deal with all kinds of suffering. This is the practice. So, back to how we breathe. Now, I hope you've listened this far, because this is the important bit coming up. So even if you fast forwarded, now's the time to stop fast forwarding and give me your full attention, and it won't take long. Right, we can breathe in 2 ways. Of course, we're breathing in, out. And before I got distracted in talk, in speech, I was explaining we should be breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. At some circumstances, one may breathe out through the mouth, as I said, if you're puffed out or singing. This In through the nose. This is a really not necessary thing. It has become popularized in meditation, as is this position. This is delving into moving towards these pranayama practices, which are not the same as the Theravada Buddhist practice of meditation. These are more yogic yoga practices, where one is using the breath, the breathing, to ventilate, even hyperventilate, to create phenomena, either physical or mental. And there's nothing wrong with any of that, but it's not what I'm talking about. I'm only talking about Buddhist meditation from the Theravada tradition, which comes from primarily this anapanasati, which is mindfulness of the breath. So we've established from all of what I've said so far that we will be mindful of the breath, watching the breath going in and out, not controlling the breath. So as long as you're breathing in through your nose and out through your nose, in through your nose, out through your nose, with your mouth gently closed, this part of the breathing is correct. But what is your body doing? Your body is like bellows, rather your lungs are like a rubber bladder inside of some bellows. Now I don't want to get around talk about the engineering of how that would work, but essentially your body moves, creating a vacuum which expands your lungs. And when the body moves back in again, the vacuum goes, so the lungs contract, expelling the air, bringing the air in, expelling the air out. And this can be done via two ways. We have this wonderful separation in our torso between the guts and horrible goings on of our digestion system down here. And remember, I'm not a doctor, so I could be very wrong with all of this. Please, please, please remember that. But I have been studying this body for hours on end through meditation, and one gets to learn how it works. Below this wonderful thing called the diaphragm is our digestive system of guts and stomach, digesting the food and expelling it once it's taken what it needs, and our kidneys and our liver. Above this, and protected by a protective barrier of bone cage, the rib cage, and the spine at the back, is the respiratory, breathing, and cardiac, heart or blood pumping part of the anatomy. Very clearly and visible, and you can see it if you look at your bottom of your rib cage. There is a kind of a separation between the softer lower part and the bony, harder upper part, and of course coated in protective muscle and skin. But this diaphragm serves two purposes. Apart from keeping everything neatly in its relevant compartments, it forms the mechanics behind the expansion and the contraction of the lungs. So the diaphragm is where we should be breathing from. Now you don't need to know how to make it do that, just observe. I ask you the question, how are you breathing? If your chest is moving, I'm consciously doing this on purpose, I'm breathing in and out through my nose, but my chest is expanding and contracting. Now this, yes, is drawing in air into the lungs and expelling air from the lungs by the same method as if you breathe with your diaphragm. Breathing with your diaphragm, your tummy, stomach, abdomen moves up, down, or in, out, in, out. This draws the diaphragm down, bringing the air into the lungs, and pushes the diaphragm up, pushing the air out of the lungs. This is the method we use to meditate, and also the method we should use for all activities. Using the muscles in the chest, the back, the shoulders, the neck and the rib cage is using a lot of bodily energy and equipment, physical, bones, muscles, sinews, to draw one breath in and expel one breath. If you use the soft, digestive lower part of your torso, the tummy, the abdomen, you're just flexing like a drum skin, a membrane, the diaphragm down and up, with just a very few, by comparison, muscles. No bones are moving, no cartilages are expanding, and it's very much less muscle power. So it is a more efficient way to breathe, and when you fall asleep, that will be how you are breathing. Of course, when we get puffed out of breath, or if we were singing, we need to draw in oxygen quickly. So we have this backup system. Breathing quickly like that, automatically what will happen, you will do it from your chest. So this is not relaxed breathing. It's still automatic, it's not controlled, it's reflexive. If you get in a cold shower or a bucket of cold water thrown over you, or you jump in cold sea, like this, your chest expands and brings in a lot of air. It's a panic mode of breathing. This is what causes panic attacks, because you breathe in quickly like this, inefficiently, and you don't burn the oxygen, and you over-oxygenate. This is why they put a paper bag over your head to bring in carbon dioxide to help the oxygen burn and de-oxygenate, because you need a little bit of both, oxygen and a bit of carbon dioxide to work the body. But that aside, the gentle, relaxing way to breathe is from your diaphragm. So ask yourself when you sit down, before you start watching the breath, how am I breathing? If you've just run all the way, a mile to get there, you will be breathing from your chest for sure. And I can feel and see my body moving. If you have been relaxed for some time, you're sitting there, hopefully your tummy is rising, falling, and some meditation techniques, teachings suggest this is the meditation object, which is good because it is at least drawing your attention to how you should be breathing. But not many times have I ever heard, if ever, how to breathe for meditation. Probably because people are not wanting you to control your breath. But this isn't controlling, it's simply switching from one to the other. If your chest is rising, expanding, contracting, falling like this, or expanding, contracting, ribs moving, back moving, shoulders moving, neck moving, everything moving. It may get in a lot of air quickly, but you're just sitting, you don't need it. Eventually your breath will become so subtle, it'll be unnoticeable. But if you're stretching all your ribs and bones each time to draw a breath, it will hardly become unnoticeable. In fact, you cannot sustain that for long, even if you try. Initially, ask yourself, how am I breathing? Switch it to the diaphragm. Then you are breathing correctly. You'll notice if you change, because in fact your body would move. This will help you if you're having trouble settling in the early parts of meditation. When you first sit, you're feeling restless, you can't get comfortable. Bring your attention to how you're breathing before you even try to watch the breathing. How are you breathing? So that's all I need to say on how to breathe. Ask yourself, how are you breathing? Is it from the diaphragm or with the chest? And when you ask yourself that question, you will automatically switch to the diaphragm. Now that you know that's what you need to do. I can't tell you how, it will just happen. So please try this. At least ask yourself the question. Hopefully you will find you always, when you sit to meditate, are just breathing from the diaphragm. But if you find that, at least initially, you're breathing with the chest, this will be the answer to a lot of the problems you are having with your meditation. An answer that will give you an instant solution. Stop breathing from the chest. You're not singing, you're not swimming, you're not running. You're meditating. So breathe from the diaphragm. And it is much more relaxing and enjoyable. So I hope you found this useful. Many blessings to you. Now the Christmas festivities are over. For those of you whom enjoyed those, I hope they were enjoyable. And I think most parts of the world are now looking forward to the next big festival, probably most commonly celebrated around the world, of New Year, at least of this Gregorian calendar, I think we call it, the one we commonly use, and in business probably worldwide use. So that'll be the next thing for you all to celebrate. In the meantime, getting over the most recent festivities and holiday, the very best way to do this is simply to drink water, Adam's ale, as my grandmother used to call it, or eau de vie, the water of life, but just good old plain water, lots of water, and lots of meditation. But don't mix the two, don't bring the clinking aluminium flasks with a little dangly chain into the meditation hall if you're meditating with other people. It's not big, it's not clever, it's very annoying. Not for the monks, we're used to it, but it's the other people. You know, jink, jink, jink. You're there to sit and meditate. Drink water before, not too much so as you need to go to the toilet all of the time, and afterwards. Meditation, you're using very little. Little mental power, little physical power, little energy. You can live for a long time in samadhi without anything, just a little oxygen, only a little bit of that. So you don't need resources as if you're climbing the Himalayas when you come to sit to meditate. I've seen it. People come in with all kinds of equipment and they stack it all around them. Oh, there's a buffalo. It's not necessary. That's just comforters, comfort blankets, if you like. They can stay outside with your materials to go home. And keep it simple. Keep this practice simple. Therefore and thereby it is enjoyable. So many blessings with metta, looking towards the new year. And if this was useful, use it. If it wasn't, ignore it. And be happy. Sukhi Hotu, Sukhi Hotu, Sukhi Hotu, Namo Buddhaya.